Yes, Your Honor. The defense would like to call Dr. Mark Devlin to the stand. Good morning, Dr. Devlin.
Give me a moment. Sorry, you can say our greetings, but don't begin yet. Doesn't you mind raising your right hand? You heard that their testimony today that is very truthful, so nothing but the truth. So,
I do.
Thank you. Me begin whenever you're ready.
May I proceed?
You're ready, yes.
Please state your name for the record of the court.
I'm Dr. Mark Devlin.
And what is your educational background?
I got my bachelor's in science from Northeastern in 1993, and after that I went to MIT for my master's and my PhD in urban planning and traffic engineering.
And what is urban planning?
Urban planning is the practice and the science of organizing a city and focusing where people go and how people move in order to elicit certain actions and in order to improve safety.
And what was the title of your doctoral thesis?
It was entitled The Effect of Dysfunctional Design on Accident Propensity. Essentially, it examined how different setups of intersections can affect how accidents take place there.
And what is your current occupation?
Right now, I am a professor at MIT of urban planning, as well as a urban design consultant here in the state of Massachusetts.
And what do you do as a consultant?
Essentially, towns will call my team and I in order to give them suggestions on how to improve safety or improve traffic flow around their city centers.
May I approach the bench to have this document marked for identification as Exhibit C?
Okay.
Would you like a copy?
I would like to copy once if you minute the other. So yeah, we've seen it in some mark.
Permission to approach the witness?
Okay.
Do you recognize this document?
Yes, this is a copy of my curriculum vitae.
Is it a fair and accurate copy?
Yes, it is.
And who created this document?
I did.
And are its contents up to date and accurate?
Yes, they are.
At this time, Your Honor, we ask the document previously marked for identification as Exhibit C be entered in evidence as Exhibit 4.
Any objection?
None. No objection.
No objection. Then, so admitted, we'd like a copy, and you may approach.
At this time, Your Honor, based on his education, training, background, and experience, we ask that Dr. Devlin be qualified as an expert and permitted to give his expert testimony in the area of urban planning and accident prevention.
Sure. And is there any objection to being admitted as an expert in
No objections.
accident planning and urban projection?
Urban planning and accident prevention.
Urban planning and accident prevention.
No objection.
And so admitted as an expert in urban planning and accident.
Dr. Devlin, have you ever worked for the town of Olney before?
Yes, I did a safety investigation for them in 2017.
And what did you find in that investigation?
We noted a number of intersections that we felt to be dangerous. Notably, the intersection between Dean Road and Jan Street we found to be extremely hazardous.
And what was your greatest concern for that intersection?
Our greatest concern was the combined curve of the road of Dean Road and as well as that combined with the banking wall that lines the intersection.
And what is the banking wall?
The banking wall is a 13-foot tall stone wall that severely decreases visibility around the intersection.
And what problems does the compound curve cause?
The compound curve essentially makes it so that cars traveling on Dean Road are unable to see oncoming traffic on Jan Street until they are already in the intersection.
Were there any other factors you noted in your 2017 investigation?
Well, aside from the usual concerns around older roads such as banking and poor maintenance of the street surface, we were concerned about the lack of visibility of the stop sign and the lack of streetlights on the intersection.
And Dr. Devlin, why is lack of visibility of the stop sign a problem?
Well, a stop sign can only do its job if it's visible to oncoming traffic. And because it was not visible behind the curve of the road, my team and I felt that it was not doing its job, and we were convinced that it was dangerous.
Now, Dr. Devlin, have you done any other investigations into this intersection in preparation for today's case?
Yes, in preparation for today's case, I revisited the intersection and I reviewed the layout of the intersection.
When you revisited the intersection, had the city added streetlights to improve visibility?
They had not.
Had the city taken any other measures to improve visibility?
They had not.
Had the city taken any measures at all to increase safety in the intersection?
They had not.
Dr. Devlin, when you revisited the intersection, did you note any other factors that you found to be dangerous?
Well, we noted that I learned that the stop sign at the corner of Dean Road and Jan Street had been blocked by low-hanging tree branches, which further obscured the visibility and greatly impaired the already dangerous lack of visibility.
And why is lack of visibility dangerous?
Well, the lack of visibility means that if a car is about to enter the intersection, it may not be aware that there are other cars also in the intersection. It may not know, the driver may not know that they need to stop in order to remain safe. And ultimately, the lack of visibility it greatly contributes to accident propensity in that area.
Now, Dr. Devlin, if the Jan Street and Dean Road stop sign had been present at the time of the accident, would it have made any difference?
If it had been there during the time of the accident, it would have been obscured by the low-hanging tree branches. And as I said, a stop sign can only do its job if it's visible, so it would not have made any difference.
And Dr. Devlin, if the sign were not obscured by branches, would it have made any difference?
It still wouldn't have made any difference because it would have been obscured behind the banking wall and behind the curve of the road.
Objection. This is outside the scope of the witness expertise,
Also,
because the witness is talking about how the accident would have been prevented. How the accident had happened, and the cause of the accident is outside the scope of the witness. It's more in the scope of Sergeant Beasley.
your response, Counselor?
Dr. Devlin has been certified as an expert in urban planning and accident prevention. He understands what various safety elements do to increase safety, and he understands what their absence will do to decrease safety.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Do you mind reminding me, Counselor, or anyone of your team, what field of expertise was Sergeant Beasley admitted?
Sergeant Beasley was admitted as an accidental reconstructionist. It's in their scope of expertise to talk about how the accident had happened, and it's not in the urban planner and accident preventative. It's not in the scope of the person who's an urban planner, because they're supposed to be talking about how to prevent the accidents rather than how they were caused.
I'm gonna overrule the objection, because I believe it is within the scope, as the expert is talking about how a stop sign can or cannot prevent, or how this intersection could or cannot prevent an accident. So for that reason, I will overrule the objection. I'm gonna allow you to continue and maybe repeat the question if you need to.
Do you need me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Dr. Devlin, if the stop sign had not been obscured by tree branches at the time of the accident, would it have made any difference?
Unfortunately, the city had not taken any actions in order to improve safety of that intersection, and actions have consequences. And the consequence of the city's inaction was that intersection remained dangerous and became more dangerous because of the low-hanging branches. Even if the branches were not there, it still would have been obscured behind the curve of the road. It still would have been hard to see because it was night, and it still would have been hard to see because of the banking wall. It would not have made any difference if the stop sign was there.
Thank you, Dr. Devlin. I have no further questions at this time.
Thank you, Counselor.